So in this question, we're asked to find the value of x in this triangle, and we can see x here is one of the side lengths. And so if we look at what we have here, we've got this angle of 97 degrees up here on the top. We've got another angle of 42 degrees, or 42.2 degrees, and another side length of 15 centimeters. And so what I would do now is basically identify, which of our trig formulas we can use to find x here. And so because we have an angle and the side opposite that angle is what we're looking for, which is x centimeters, we should always be asking ourselves, okay, well, do we have another angle and a side opposite that other angle? And we actually do, because if we look across from this 42.2 degrees, we see that that is opposite the side, which is 15 centimeters long. And so basically this means that we've got a situation where we're working with angles on opposite sides, and therefore what we're going to be using is the sine rule. And so the sine rule is actually very easy to remember. So we can just write it down here now. And it is going to be that sine A over A is equal to sine B over B, where A is going to be the angle opposite the side A. So if we just kind of draw a little sketch triangle here just to illustrate what's going on. So if we had this side A here, the angle will be up here, which is opposite A, and then B would be the side length, which is opposite the angle B. So the capital letter B and the capital letter A are always going to be the angles, and the small letters are going to be the sides. So that's kind of some background on the sine rule, but we can sort of apply that now to this question. So we're going to have sine 97, because basically we're going to have 97 degrees, and then our actual unknown is going to be the side, which is x, which again is opposite that angle of 97 degrees. And then on the right hand side, we can just put what we actually know, which is going to be sine 42.2, and then on the bottom we're going to have just 15, because we know that the side length opposite this angle of 42.2 is again 15 centimeters. So we've got everything we need now. We can just sort of start rearranging this, and I think the best thing to do is first of all get x away from the bottom, because we can't really work with anything on the bottom of a fraction. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by x all the way across, just to get rid of it from being on the bottom. And by doing that, we now get this equation where we've got x on the left, and then we've got our initial kind of sine 42.2 over 15. And so the next step is of course just going to be to get x on its own. And the reason I'm doing this, by the way, rather than just plugging things in the calculator, is because I think it's always a good idea, if you can, to do your calculation at the end, because you're going to have less rounding errors. But of course, if it's a case where you're happy to just use your calculator earlier, that's fair enough as well. But when we get to this stage, I'm just going to multiply across by 15, just to get rid of our 15 over here on the left. So that is going to give us 15 in front of our sine 97. And then lastly, if we look at the left hand side, we also need to get rid of that sine 42.2, so we can just divide across by that, and we're going to get this sine 42.2 on the bottom. And so that is going to be kind of our overall fraction we put in the calculator now to find the value of x in centimeters. So I'm just going to do that now, and the answer we get out is going to be 22.16 centimeters. And it doesn't actually mention here to round it off to a certain number of decimal places, so I'm just going to leave it like this. But that is going to be the value of the side x in this triangle, and so that is going to be it for this question.